What's going on, my fellow A-plusers? Welcome back once again to a brand new episode. It is I, your host with the most, Adam Perez, back once again with a brand new WandaVision review. Our last WandaVision review, as we're about to get into episode number 9 and tackle the season finale, ladies and gentlemen. Whether or not we get ourselves a second season, who certainly knows? I feel like Wanda's story probably will be told and expanded in either other series or other movies in the future. I know she's supposed to be having a really big role in Doctor Strange 2. So whether or not we get ourselves a second season, we definitely will have to see. But I will say this. Loved this season finale. Thought it certainly wrapped up really well, and also had us give us an opportunity to kind of see what we could be looking forward to in the future. Now, for tonight, guys, it is just only me here gracing you with my presence. Unfortunately, Stuart is now back to working at the movie theater. I know Indy had to work tonight also, so it's just me. Nice intimate setting, if you will, to go ahead and talk about WandaVision and wrap this up, guys. But listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. While I had a lot of theories and certainly a lot of expectations going into this, regardless, I really enjoyed just the story that the storytellers wind up giving us in here. And I thought it was a really proper ending to what I thought was a really fantastic season. I really enjoyed just the creativity, the risks, the uniqueness that this season certainly gave us. Honestly, Marvel continues to outdo itself. After you've given us 20 plus movies that all average like $1 billion a piece, you've given us one of the biggest sort of cinematic crossovers or cinematic universes in history. Also, when it comes to what else can you certainly do, right? And when it comes to WandaVision, I think they certainly have done a great job in showcasing us exactly what else they can do. Still continuing to be creative, having fun with the genres that they sort of mash in with the superhero elements. And I just honestly thought that this episode was a great sort of example of that, being able to take risks and still being successful, all from the mind of the entire crew that he certainly surrounds himself with. So shout out to the director and the writer of this season, of this series. I know we can certainly expect them to go on and do other things as well when it comes to Marvel. So definitely keep your eyes open for these writers and directors for WandaVision to go on and tell even further stories in other series and movies along the way. So definitely look forward to that. I will say this. Overall, this episode was heartfelt, visually stunning. Action, if you ask me, was certainly epic. And that costume, though, for Scarlet Witch, absolutely brilliant, honestly. I really love the design of Wanda's new costume in here, finally giving her more traditional sort of comic book. Now that she's got, like, I don't even want to call it a crown, but the headpiece, if you will. I thought the bodysuit was great. I love how it flares out at the end, because if I'm not mistaken, I think Wanda tends to usually have like a cape, if you will. And while she does have a cloak that we see her rocking towards the end, I really just love the design of her costume, honestly. It looks great. Colors look great on Elizabeth Olsen. So I'm really excited to kind of see what else they have in store for us with her, certainly going forward. But honestly, like, for this episode and just this season in general, it was just incredibly heartfelt. One of the biggest issues that I had with the Vision and Wanda relationship very early on in the MCU, right? Like, for me, it was just really hard to kind of make that connection between these two characters. I did give it I loved the little tease at their potential romance at the end of Age of Ultron, when we get to see them in like Civil War. A little bit odd for me. I didn't really know how to feel about it because he's an android, and just the idea of emotions and how is that certainly going to work itself out, if you will. We saw a hint of it developing even further in Infinity War, which I was like, okay, I'm kind of on board with this. But WandaVision, for me, not only was this a great spotlight for Wanda and Vision to really have their chance at being pushed to the forefront and have their story told, but I really do look at this season in a way, for them at least, very much as a love story, if you will. And I love just all the elements and the emotions that we get to see from all these characters. And for me, I honestly shed a tear, not just once, but twice when I watched this movie, or when I watched this episode today. Because one, I thought the dialogue between them was so good. I thought the buildup of their relationship all season was to perfection, if you will. Just to really see the love between these two kind of showcase itself, really just gave me an emotional tug at my heart when they do have to say their goodbyes sort of all over again, right? And not just Vision and Wanda, but Wanda and her kids also. Just that, we've been with them in their household for 8 episodes, 7 episodes, if you will, right? Kind of traveled with them through the decades. It's a kind of a bittersweet goodbye, to say the least. The fact that we don't necessarily get that full happy ending for Wanda, that she still has to say goodbye. Vision fully understanding what he's sort of become, or what he certainly was, or how Wanda certainly created him, having him be able to tap into those emotions. I just thought the dialogue was just on point. Like for instance, when she says, when he asks her what happened, or how did you bring me together, and she mentions the idea that that you're a piece of mind stone that lives inside of me, your wires and blood and bones that I created, my sadness, my hope, and my love. And I thought that was absolutely brilliant. And to be able to see Vision say something along the lines of the idea of him being through different incarnations of himself, right? Being a robot, being a sentient being, whatever it may be, but also being now being able to sort of live his life and have those emotions that he's never really been able to express before. For me, I really just love seeing this love story between these two characters kind of come complete full circle, if you will, regardless of the ending. And I just think, for me, when I go back now and watch the MCU, I'm really going to have just a completely different mindset of these two's relationship, kind of going back and watching it, just because of what WandaVision has really built. And I really technically built a family for them. And you can feel that. And you can feel that not only through the entire season, but especially here in the season finale. So for me, what I took away, incredibly felt episode for me, especially when it comes to them. When I say the idea of visually stunning in here, I mean, goodness, the action sequences, the moment when we see Wanda sort of trying to separate her hex, and you see how everything is trying to transition back to itself, sort of in and out of all different decades that we've seen them kind of go through. I thought that was certainly visually stunning. For me, I thought the action was epic and also visually stunning for just Vision versus Vision. I thought that was really cool stuff. I mean, just giving us that sort of Marvel cinematic movie element that they certainly said we were going to get in this season, and they certainly weren't lying at all. So I really love the Vision versus Vision stuff, visually stunning that in that regards, and then also, of course, Agatha and Wanda in here as the Scarlet Witch. Just breathtaking to watch on the screen. And I would love to actually watch this episode again for the 3rd time, maybe even on a bigger screen if I get that opportunity at any particular point in time. But I absolutely loved it. And yeah, going back to the action, I thought the action was pretty epic. Vision versus Vision was pretty cool. I did have a question, like when I was watching the action for the first time, and I saw Wanda and Agatha in the air, and you see Wanda just throwing these hex, I call them hex bolts, like hex bolts at Agatha, and she's absorbing it and she's missing it at times. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, why is Wanda missing? Like, I feel like Wanda would be like, it didn't even necessarily occur to me that maybe Wanda was actually missing purpose, because I love the swerve when you get to realize that Wanda's kind of been planning this idea, right, to kind of distract her with these hex bolts, but also creating these runes all around them, using a little bit of Agatha's trick that we clearly see that Wanda wind up using in here to kind of turn the tide, give her all your abilities, knowing that she can't use her powers against you, because as we learned in a previous episode, the witch that creates the runes is the only one that can certainly use her magic. And you clearly get to see just how quickly Wanda is picking up up not only on just magic, but her abilities also. And then just the incredible visually stunning side of things to see her absorbing her power back and really acknowledging the idea that she is in fact sort of the Scarlet Witch, this mythical being, if you will, amongst witches, that's finally kind of coming to the forefront. And I love just the eerie dialogue and the foreshadowing, if you will, from Agatha, the idea of like, you don't know what you just unleashed, right? The idea of maybe tapping into the Scarlet Witch abilities, bringing that Scarlet Witch now into reality, now that somebody is capable of harnessing sort of that chaos magic. What has that sort of awoken, if you will, right? Like what light switch or what switch has certainly been flipped, sort of thing. So I think that answer is certainly going to come to us in Doctor Strange 2, that whatever has been signaled is certainly headed our way because of the fact of Scarlet Witch now being fully recognized in the MCU. So for me, I thought that was incredible on all fronts, honestly. And I really loved, there's so many good scenes in here. First off, honorable mention to Catherine Hahn for doing an amazing job as Agatha Harkness. You know, she really developed as a great character, or even better character, as the season progresses, especially when you realize exactly who she is at the end of the day. And she just completely owned this role. You know, I didn't know that I needed Catherine Hahn in the MCU, but now that we've seen what she's capable of, man, talk about like, this is the type of performance I really would have loved to have seen her have on the big screen. But I feel like if they want to utilize her in any way on the Disney Plus series, I'm more than fine with it. I thought she did a fantastic job as Agatha Harkness. Also goes to Agatha also goes ahead and opens our eyes to the book of was it called Darkhold? I think she calls it the Book of the Damned, but it is in fact called the Darkhold. I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans will certainly recognize that. I think they said it was used in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that somebody like an alternate reality or whatever the case may be. If I'm wrong, certainly let me know in the comment section box below. But I thought that was fascinating that they wind up bringing sort of that book into play, and we definitely have not seen the end of it, especially after we saw how the end credits wind up going, where we think that maybe Wanda has sort of gotten over whatever she's dealing with. We clearly get to see that she is doing her best to not only practice, but I don't necessarily know if that's the best book you want to practice from. You know what I mean? Like, I am wondering what Wanda is certainly up to. It seems as though she was at peace with the knowledge and idea of sort of saying farewell to her family. So I am wondering why she's studying that book of all books to learn more of her chaos magic. I mean, granted, Agatha did mention the idea that there's literally a whole chapter devoted to the Scarlet Witch in that book. So she certainly could be maybe reading up on herself, seeing what she's certainly capable of. But based off of the idea that she really doesn't have sort of any understanding of her powers. Again, I don't know if that's the best book that you want to start your lessons off of. And I just think maybe the idea of her dabbling into sort of that dark magic or that damned magic, if you will, without sort of the necessary training, that could just add to a whole nother list of problems. You know what I mean? So I cannot wait to see how Wanda's character continues to develop, whether that means she's going to be the actual villain in Doctor Strange 2, or if she's going to be used by another villain in another way. Who certainly knows, but I'm really looking forward to it. Before we move on, I do want to go ahead and give some quick shout outs to people that have joined us today. Michael, what's up? I appreciate you coming through. Shadow Nova's in the house also. Michael also does say Scarlet Witch's outfit looks amazing. Absolutely, man. When it finally comes onto her, the idea that she even zaps Agatha's mindset and physical appearance back to her sitcom version of herself, I thought was fantastic. But when you get to see her costume in all her glory, and I honestly wish that they gave us a better close-up view of when she actually has her cloak on, when she takes off, when she leaves Monica behind, and then we see her again as she's flying away from Westview. I really would have loved to have seen that shot also. But yeah, her costume is absolutely fantastic. Mercenary, what's up? Mercenary says, hey, just passing through. Hey, we appreciate you passing through, man. Thank you very much. Beast Boy, what's up, Beast Boy? I appreciate you coming through as well. Beast Boy says they ruined Quicksilver. No, I wouldn't say they ruined Quicksilver. Maybe they just didn't necessarily meet your personal expectations. Quicksilver is Quicksilver, right? Like you still go back to Age of Ultron, you got Aaron Johnson's Quicksilver right there. You can go back to X-Men, Days of Future Past, X-Men Apocalypse, boom, Evan Peters, Quicksilver, right there, right? The idea was that this was certainly just a ploy from Agatha to certainly get to him. Just because we have our expectations too high and they don't meet them doesn't necessarily mean that they ruined the character, right? That there's a reason why we have to subvert our own expectations and sit back and see what the writers certainly give us. So no, I don't think that they, personally, from my point of view, no, I don't think they ruined Quicksilver. Maybe disappointing to you because what didn't live up to your theory, but that doesn't mean that it ruined the character. It just simply means it just didn't live up to your expectations, and that's certainly more than fine. But Quicksilver certainly continues to have a place in the MCU, and you can go back and watch the version of Quicksilver that you absolutely love. It's not going anywhere. Let's see here. Doomsday says, "Hey Adam, I love this series finale." Me too, man. Me too. I really appreciate. I really enjoyed this this season finale. Granted, listen again, and that goes back to the idea of having expectations, right? I think people were maybe thinking, "Hey, we didn't get the idea to see who the aerospace engineer was that she was referring to. No Reed Richards, no Fantastic," right? Like that's just our expectations that we put on the show. But who's to say that we don't get introduced to this aerospace engineer, whoever the case may be, at some particular other point in time, right? So I do think that we need to just kind of enjoy what they certainly put in front of us. And when you take your own expectations out of it, maybe go back and check out the season and see how it kind of all puts itself together, because I really enjoyed it. And props to Evan Peters for even taking the role to even come back and because it looked like he had a blast, and I had a blast actually having him on board, if you will. So yeah, definitely. Let's see here. Marvin, what's up, Marvin? Appreciate you coming through. It says Medusa lead in the house. Medusa boys. I still have I gotta find that picture of you, me, and Stan up in the tower over at Medusa. I'll have to find that. Let's see here. All right. And then Marvin does say everyone wanted Evan Peters to have that intro to X-Men and the multiverse. Yeah, I think that's definitely a lot of people's expectations certainly were, right? People were hoping Mephisto was going to be in here. No sign of him. Also, again, I just think it's the idea of don't put your own expectations on the show, and if they don't meet it, be like, oh, this show's crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because of that's the case. And I'm not saying that you guys are saying that. I'm just saying it's plenty of times I've definitely heard stuff like that. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about get back into this episode here, because I do want to talk about Wanda and Vision also a little bit more. For me, when it comes to Wanda in here, I am going to be fascinated to see what the ramifications are going to be for her. Based off of what she did to this town in Westview, and one of my great scenes in this episode is when Agatha sort of takes that mirage away from these characters, and Wanda gets the opportunity to finally see and be confronted by her victims, if you will, right? Very much victims. I mean, you hear the pleas from these people of, protect my daughter. I'm just trying to contact my husband so he doesn't come here, right? Like the idea of them rather being dead than sort of experiencing this firsthand sort of thing. And it's a really eye-opener, I think, for Wanda, and a little bit of a punch in her face, because she clearly, again, the idea that she clearly doesn't know what she possesses when it comes to her abilities and her powers. I don't necessarily think that was maybe her first intention of doing that to these people, but clearly that's what her chaos magic certainly was doing to people. And it really does sort of push Wanda to the idea and the notion that, yeah, I can't, as a hero, I have to face my truth. And that's been the running theme here, right? The idea that I need to save this town. I need to pull down this hex and go back to reality. These people need to continue to live their lives. And I love just when we see Wanda at the end, after everything's done, right? The hex is down. She's got to make that slow walk through town hall, and everybody's there to kind of watch her and judge her and look at her differently. It very much reminds me of maybe the Salem witch trials back in Massachusetts, right? Kind of coming full circle a little bit to Agatha's story. People kind of looking at her as like, that witch, what else is she capable of? She put us through this sort of thing, right? I am kind of curious as to what this is going to do for Wanda's image, certainly going forward, and how the world, if you will, kind of responds to that, because I do feel like there's got to be some level of accountability for what you did and what you caused to these people, even if you didn't mean to. You know what I mean? Even if you didn't mean to, these people are certainly going to look at you differently going forward, and it's probably going to put fear into people's minds. And so it definitely does feel like maybe the idea and concept of the Salem witch trials, at least when it comes to Scarlet Witch, you know, when it comes to Wanda, maybe people are definitely going to be like Agatha said, right, coming at you with the torches and the pitchforks again. So I thought that was really interesting. I think this is going to be a time for Wanda to definitely have to find out who she wants to be and how she's going to handle things certainly going forward. But the idea of her grief poisoning her, and then in turn poisoning her the citizens of also, I just thought it was a really incredible story that they were definitely telling. And again, the idea of realizing that you can't have all of this, like this fairy tale world that you're living in has to kind of be brought down. And after everybody's told you that you have to confront your truth, we definitely do see that she does at the end. But again, with that post-credit scene, how much of that truth has she certainly accepted, right? Does she want her kids back? She heard her child at the end, that's what she's searching for. Is she trying to create a soul for them, or whatever the case may be, so that and be flesh and blood this time around? Maybe she's making some deals with the devil. Who certainly knows? You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens when it comes to Wanda going forward. But I thought her story was beautifully told in here, quite honestly. And I also really love Vision. Crazy seeing White Vision trying to crush poor Wanda's head at the beginning. You know, she clearly didn't know what she would certainly expect. But when Hayward says he brought back the Vision, he definitely created himself a weapon. And for me, you know, as much action was in this episode, one of the things that I loved was that Vision's battle doesn't end with punching somebody in the face. It literally ends with just a great intellectual conversation between these two androids. And I thought it was brilliant, right? The idea that the White Vision's main objective is to kill the real Vision, to kill Vision. And then when you get Paul Bettany as the made up Vision, if you will, the altered reality Vision or make-believe Vision, I don't know what you want to call him as, but when he starts kind of really throwing ideas at, like, am I really the real Vision though? Like, you know, I might have his memories, but this isn't his body. You know, I mean, you've got the body, but you don't have his memories. Does that make you the real Vision, sort of thing? And I love the fact that he kind of turns things around and really just allows them both to just have this intellectual conversation to figure out what's really the truth, right? What defines original? What defines real? You know what I mean? And so I love the fact that he not only has that conversation, but he also allows the White Vision to realize that, bro, like, you're just me. But your memories and your information have been withheld from you. You're literally being used as a weapon. And I love that it's a really great eye-opener for this character, because now we've got Vision giving him his memories back, and now we've got a hex Vision. Marvin says hex Vision. I like it. I like that. That's a great description for him. So hex Vision winds up giving White Vision his memories, and now we've got a fully formed Vision who just kind of leaves and does his own thing after the battle. And yet, while fully realized Vision again, fully put back together, clearly, you know, has his memories back, he doesn't have the Mind Stone. And I don't believe he's going to have that same emotional level either. You know, I would be interested to see what a meeting is going to be like between these two once again, considering the fact that the first time White Vision and Wanda met each other, he literally tried to crush her head like a prune or like a grape. So I'm sure there's going to be some animosity between these two if they ever meet again, you know, maybe taking some baby steps type of thing. But who's to say that maybe, you know, maybe with the help of Wanda, he can't get back the Paul Bettany or Hex Vision version that we all certainly love to know and love in this episode. So it'll be interesting. I don't know where Vision is certainly going to pop up next, but I'm really excited to kind of see where he certainly does, because I'm expecting a Vision but clearly maybe not just the emotionally attached Vision that we've all come to know and love. Quick honorable mentions does go out to Miss Monica Rambeau herself. Let's see here. The idea that let's see here, her abilities came in handy this week. I love the idea that we're continuing to push her power set. It's almost like she phased. She was allowing the bullets from Hayward to kind of phase through her, slow down the momentum. Not sure if she tapped into some sort of like energy spectrum to kind of help that out, but I thought visually it was easy. And the idea that she's headed space now. Not only that she's headed to space, but Skrulls are clearly still here on Earth. Wind up infiltrating. I guess it was maybe one of the FBI or sort of agents maybe to pass the message along to Monica that good old Samuel L. Jackson, Mr. Nick Fury himself, is beckoning her in current time. So I am kind of curious if this means that she's going to link up with them in, say, Captain Marvel 2, or is going to link up with them in, say, Secret Invasion at some point in time. Who knows? Maybe she'll pop up in both of them. Honestly, I was really impressed with Teyonah Parris in here. I really have always wanted to see Photon or Spectrum or Pulsar, all the whatever superhero name they decide to give her. I've always wanted to see her showcased in here in the MCU at some point in time, and I just thought they knocked it out of the park with their casting with Teyonah Parris, because I really love just all the impact that she had in this episode. Just getting the opportunity this season, I should say, also getting the opportunity just to see her range and really how well she connects with all these other MCU characters. So I'm really looking forward to seeing more of those two, to be perfectly honest with you. Michael, what's up? Michael does say, he says, I want to know if Monica has a grudge with Captain Marvel since she'll be appearing in the second film. Yeah, we've seen that all season long, right? That anytime Carol Danvers has been brought up or Captain Marvel, you can almost feel her eyes rolling every time the name is mentioned, right? So I am curious to see what happened. If she was upset that maybe she couldn't help her mom survive or couldn't stop what happened to, well, I guess her mom did live, I think about it. So I feel like it's probably something outside of that. Maybe the idea of she didn't save the world in Infinity War. I don't know. But I'm here for it, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah, going back to Evans Peters as Quicksilver, he just happens to be some guy named Ralph Boner in the town, being used by Agatha, if you will. So I thought that was pretty funny also. And then Hayward winds up getting captured by Kat Dennings, aka Darcy, certainly coming through. I was a little bit bummed that Darcy wasn't in this episode. Just maybe like 2 more minutes, just 2 more minutes. Darcy wind up bailing. We'll definitely see her again for sure. She's already been, she's supposed to already be popping up in other stuff also. So I definitely look forward to that. But yeah. Hayward certainly got what was coming to him, wind up getting arrested. Who knows if we'll see Hayward pop back up in here at any particular point in time. Here, AJ says, "What's up? Haven't caught up to WandaVision. Still on episode 5. Just saying what's up. Hey, appreciate you coming through, AJ. And yeah, I gotta agree with Marvin. Go binge watch. I think the past 2 episodes I think have been like 40 plus minutes. Before that, maybe like 30 minutes, and then even before that, like 23 minutes, maybe 25 if you're lucky. So I feel like they're very easy to sit through, and I think you can knock them out pretty quickly, AJ, if you get the opportunity to do so, man. But overall, listen, I was really pleased with this. I truly was. A quick honorable mention also to the cool trick that Wanda puts on Agatha in here by sending Agatha into a nightmare reminiscent of Age of Ultron. And she did the same exact thing when it came to Tony, creeping up on him real quick with the creepy little fingers too, up behind Agatha. Put this vision in her head, if you will. I thought that was absolutely perfect. And then one of the lines that'll definitely stick with me from Agatha in here, where she says, "Power isn't your problem. It's knowledge," right? The lack of knowledge. And again, we quickly get to see exactly how past, Wanda actually picks up on things and is probably going to pick up on more things that she probably shouldn't at this point in time, considering the fact that she really doesn't know how to utilize her abilities that well. So overall, guys, again, the costume was fantastic. The action was super epic, visually stunning when it comes to the CGI effects. Again, especially just seeing that Hex being sort of pulled and ripped apart, seeing the sword guys kind of drive their car through the opening and stuff like that. I just thought all that stuff was fantastic. But for me, the money of not only this season finale, but the whole entire season is truly just the love between Wanda and Vision, and it really showcased itself immensely. And really, honestly, like if I could be honest, just brought me to tears towards the end of this episode, because I just thought they did such a beautiful job of making Vision as real and as human of a person as he certainly can, really allowing us sort of step into the shoes of one, because we've all felt grief. We all had to say goodbye to somebody that we love, and just to kind of see the emotion that those two wind up having towards each other and just the love that they embodied. Really great stuff, man. Really great stuff. Gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. Let me go ahead and just see if I can jump back into the comment section and just grab a couple comments here and there before we get out of here. Doomsday does say, I love that Wanda has become the Scarlet Witch. Me too. Me too. I'm glad that we see that progression of her character. And again, I think after watching WandaVision, I may go down the path of Wanda and Vision once again, going back to Age of Ultron, and really just continue to follow their stories. If you guys don't want to do a recap and go down those movies, if you go onto Disney Plus, they do have a show called Marvel Legends, which gives you great sort of recaps and a great rundown of each individual character to help you get caught up to where they're at in their television show. So before WandaVision even dropped, they had one for Wanda and for Vision, and I think they actually might have already dropped one for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so you can see their journeys before you even get into the Falcon and Winter Soldier television. Isn't that weird? Wanda and Vision, name titled WandaVision. Falcon, the Winter Soldier, name title Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Loki, name title Loki. It's just I'm okay if we get a little bit more creative with these titles, guys. Perfect. I'd be perfectly okay with that, honestly. But yeah, check them out if you guys have not done so. Let's see. Doomsday also says, I love how fast this went from being a normal sitcom to a real superhero series. Yeah, they kind of definitely hit you with the sitcom very early on, maybe like the first 2 episodes for sure. And then they start kind of really taking their time editing in and out between the sitcom and the real world thing. And then this show just takes off on its own and becomes its own thing. So, I love the way that this was put together. Again, Marvel has no problem in taking risks. I've seen them take risks with Thor to introduce us to Asgardians. I've seen them introduce us, bring us to Guardians of the Galaxy, to the cosmos, right? This is just another one of their sort of risks and experimentations, and it pays off incredibly well. I thought they did a fantastic job. Shadow says, I kind of thought Evan Peters would end up being Mephisto. Yeah, plenty of us did. Trust me, I wouldn't be surprised if we had that theory here on the show. I know Indy was really pushing Mephisto to maybe possibly pop up in here. But listen, there definitely are hints over the place. So I can see why people certainly would go down that path. Yeah, Michael says, as soon as the hex was decreasing or disappearing, I had a feeling that the twins and Vision are going away. Sadness. Yeah, you can see that just from when it actually started happening, right? Vision falls out of the sky, the twins start slowing and all start getting kind of pulled together. That had to be startling for Wanda, right? That's probably one of the reasons why she stopped in the first place. Shadow Nolan says, I did love the character stuff throughout the entire season. Yeah, I thought they did a fantastic job of building Wanda and Vision up, because before this season, there were 2 characters that I don't want to say I didn't care for, but they were just side characters. But now that we're kind of getting into a completely new phase of Marvel, you've got Tony Stark who's gone, you got Steve Rogers who's gone. You really have to do your part and start building up these characters, really giving them great character development, great character depth. start expanding their stories a little bit to really kind of push them to the forefront of the users as we go forward. And I think this was a perfect example of how to do that, because right now when I look at Wanda and Vision, I look at them completely differently than what I did at the start of the season. Yeah, I think other than that, I think Michael says, yeah, on Agatha's quote, and at the end of the end credit scene, Wanda is getting that knowledge. Yeah, again, not that knowledge that I definitely don't think that she certainly needs, to the least. But listen, guys, look, at the end of the day, these are just simply my A+ opinions, but I certainly want to go ahead and know yours. What did you guys think of the season finale of WandaVision? Did it knock out of the park for you? Did it leave you disappointed, under your expectations? I'm kind of curious to know what you guys thought. Are you looking forward to the next Disney Plus series? Certainly go ahead and let me know your in the comment section box below after this particular video winds up airing, guys. But other than that, maybe this weekend, if we do get the opportunity to have Stuart and Indy around, they'll certainly go ahead and give their thoughts on the episode as well. If you do have questions for us at any time, maybe you've seen a story in the news that dropped this week, or a show you certainly continue to talk about, feel free to go ahead and submit your questions to us at any time over at aplusopinions@gmail.com. Again, aplusopinions@gmail.com. Certainly go ahead and send them over at any time during the week, and then we'll definitely get to your questions every Sunday live at noon Central Time on A+ here. And go ahead and tackle that, guys. But other than that, that's going to go ahead and do it for me here, guys. So in the meantime, do me a big favor, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as always, keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.